known about drugs since as long as I could remember. My parents and all that, they all smoked weed and did drugs, and it was just a natural lifestyle of partying. I just didn't know any different. At the age of 8 years old, it's the first time I ever smoked marijuana or weed. I never met my dad. He was never in the picture. I never met him not one time. By the time I was 12 years old, my mom had left. She had abandoned me. She just kind of left unannounced. We came home from school one day and everything in the house was gone. There was a note on the counter because there wasn't even a table. And the note said, "Have a nice life. I'm sorry I can't take care of you anymore. Love Mom." I smoked weed all through foster care and drank beer, but I never messed with the hard stuff until later. Eventually, though, by the time I was 33 years old, I had done something really stupid. I was pretty heavy into meth and other things of that nature. It landed me in prison. I lost my freedom. That's kind of when I realized I needed help, that I couldn't do it alone. I'd gotten out of prison and I paroled out to Galveston County. I tried to do right, and I tried to live good like I had planned while I was in prison, and I got a job, and I lived right for about 8 months, and I guess that's as long as it took, and the next thing I know, I was back into drugs. It started out drinking, like it always does, and I was back into drugs again. I had lost my job, lost everything I'd saved and worked for to make life right again, and was just back into that same old thing again. I knew that it wouldn't be long I'd be back in prison, and sure enough, I went back on a violation. I was in county jail. That's when I started hearing about Strong Tower, was in county jail. Well, actually, it was before county jail. Even while I was in Galveston County, I was working with this man, and we drove by the place here at Strong Tower. We drove by it a couple times, and I said, "What is that place?" And he was like, "Oh, that's just a rehab for people. You don't need that." And little did he know, I really needed it. A little after that, I was really bad in my addiction. It was one of those early mornings, like 4 o'clock in the morning, and I was at the Jack in the Box. I think it was in Santa Fe. And I had seen a crew there. I guess it was a fundraising crew. They were there getting breakfast, and I was there in my addiction, charging my phone. And I looked at these guys, and they had these Strong Tower shirts on. And I said, "I've heard that before. What is that? What is it y'all do?" And they were like, "Oh, we're a ministry for rehabilitation." And I was like, I don't need that, So I just went on about my business and as far as my addiction, and ended up back in county jail. It was at that moment in county jail I was there, and we had this volunteer that would come in and preach to us and teach to us different things. And he had mentioned Strong Tower. His name was Pastor John Elliott from the Foursquare Baptist Church. And when he had told me about it, I was like, wow, that sounds so great. He just described it very well. And when he had told me, I didn't even realize that it was the same place that I had previously heard about from these different situations. I guess God was steady, pounding it in me, just telling me about Strong Tower. And I just kept avoiding it. But it was at that moment that I realized I needed Strong Tower. And so I went to ISF, and then upon getting out of ISF, I was accepted at Strong Tower, and I came to Strong Tower to change my life. It's a really great place. The main revelation that I've had, though, is that I'm no longer alone. I have a family here. I'm loved. I'm a child of God. I'm no longer an orphan. I don't have to live that life of aloneness anymore, and it's beautiful. I've grown closer to God in so many ways. When I got here, I couldn't even pray. I couldn't even pray in public. But now being able to pray for another person and helping them in that process is so great. I just love Strong Tower. I don't know what I would have done without it.